You feel like a vacation. You feel like everything I've been wanting and waiting for. And every day I'm wanting more. Even though we had a minor slip-ups, we are never, ever, ever giving up. Got the modern Gina kind of love. Real shit that comes from above. And my friends ask me how I know that you are the one. I know you're the one. I know you're
Hey, everybody.
Yo, what's up?
Welcome back to the
Show Up and Show Out podcast
with your girl, Michael.
And your boy, Jevonne.
And we, again, are focusing on the book, The Light Through the Darkness, my book.
That's right, babe. Your book. You go, girl.
As well as we are going to be reading some of my journal entries and talking about it and just being really real and raw and on the spot, because a lot of this stuff you haven't heard. Like,
No, a lot of it I haven't heard.
in terms of my journal. Like,
in terms of your journal, there's a lot of things I haven't heard. So,
all right. So this week's focus and or theme, if you will, we're going to be reading out of The Light Through the Darkness. We're still in the lessons, but we're going to be in the second chapter of that, which was Fight the Right Way. Fighting the right way basically was something that was given to me by my Father in heaven, because I was being attacked and stalked by
yes.
the other women. And at the time I had a business, and then I also had a Facebook group for this book,
Right.
and stalked me there. And to the point where I just was like, you know what? I'm just going to shut down the Facebook group. I'm just going to shut down the business page and be done with it, because I just did not want to deal with literally having to go on there every single day to delete the bull crap that was being placed on my social media. But anyway, so I was given this part of the book literally as a way to fight better and not to get caught up in the, clapback
I was
game.
like, catback? Is that something new? What the heck?
I said cap, C-A-P, not C-A-T.
Catback. Oh, you meant clapback.
Still was, both of them were wrong. But the clapback game, because when you're stalked and when you're in that space of just infidelity, betrayal, and you're hurt and you're devastated, you want to be able to be,
You want to be
look,
able to,
babes, blah blah blah.
Right.
But that's not the way to go.
No, it's not.
It's not the way to go, and it's stooping down to their level. It's getting you out of your character,
and it's basically letting them know they winning because they get into your head.
True, and that's something that was brought to me a lot. Like,
Right.
whenever I wanted to clap, there you go, clap back. It's almost like the spirit was in the back of my head going, don't do that.
No,
because
it's not worth
what is
it.
that going to then do?
All it's going to do is escalate things more, and then you get into the situation deeper.
Exactly.
When you don't need to be getting.
You don't need to.
Right.
And then I'm focused on the wrong thing.
Right.
I'm
exactly.
focused on that person, which is what they want me to be focused on, opposed to focused on my marriage, my healing, my God, etc. So I'm going to go ahead and read, and I'm going to kind of jump around in this and read a little bit about what, not read a little about, but I'm going to read a little bit with regards to what was given to me, and then we're going to kind of discuss it.
Right.
All right. So again, I'm going to skip around a little bit, but it's the main points that I want to kind of bring out. It says, no longer was I operating out of fear and angst, but rather I was operating from a space of pure faith and confidence. I knew I had nothing to fear if I was actively and consistently doing my part, continuing to put God first, believing in His ability to handle anything and everything that I gave to Him, and staying in gratitude, praise, and worship. Replaying in my mind, no weapons formed against me shall prosper, was something I adopted on repeat during this trial. It helped to calm my nerves with the letting go and trusting in God portion. That was one of the hardest parts of this whole journey, trusting in God to handle every facet of the issue for me and trusting in His process and timing without wanting to have my hand in it. I had to learn to watch, check, and change my thoughts, as well as to shut my mouth. I had to refrain from getting antsy and wanting a progress report from my Father in heaven just because I wasn't used to not having control over my problems. I hated sitting in that uncomfortable space. One big thing about God fighting your battles is that you can't see the battle being fought. You have no idea what the strategy is, what the next move is, and when and where it's coming from. You truly are looking at nothing, trusting that God is doing everything in the background. No matter how awkward this waiting and the balance felt like, I was determined to let him handle my battles while I handled what I could, and that was my feelings and emotions. I tell you, learning how to refrain from voicing my discontentment, concerns, and pure distrust was extremely hard to do. In fact, it was dang near impossible. Trusting God should be an automatic thing that we do without hesitation. He is the only one that knows us better than we know ourselves. I honestly don't know why it was so hard for me. Trusting in God is literally all we have. The knowledge that He can do all things through our faith in Him and His Son, Jesus Christ. We must show our faith, and we need to show Him that we believe beyond a doubt that He is working everything out for our good. We need to go about our business, forgetting the thing that we've put in His hands while having no fear, no angst, or anxiety, just peace. So what do we do after we have attained full trust in our Father in heaven to fight for us? Keep reading. The next lesson is a doozy. So
Very powerful.
Thanks, Dave.
Very powerful.
I think the biggest thing there for me was that uncomfortable place where you feel like when you don't clap back, when you don't say something, that means you're weak.
Right, but now you look at it now, you realize.
Right, I look at it
in
now,
the moment,
hindsight.
Though,
In the moment, I felt like I was weak, or I was like, because I wasn't saying anything back, because I wasn't defending myself, because I wasn't speaking on the bull crap that was being put out there, that I was like weak, or that I didn't have a voice, or that I was like afraid or fearful. And that wasn't how I felt at all. And so I think part of me not speaking out and wanting to be able to speak out, the reason why I had those moments of like, I'm a write back, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna call this chick, it's because part of me, that ego place, like that temporal place, wanted me to be like, I ain't scared of you.
Right.
Like, I know my worth, I know who I am, and I know what you're saying is a whole bunch of bunk, you know what I mean? But every single time it was so strong, that feeling of just be still. Don't say a word. Be still.
That's really, really good that you had the strength to actually listen to that voice, that spirit that spoke to you, because most people, that spirit is always speaking to you. This is what people don't understand.
You're exactly right.
But you have to figure out exactly how it responds to you. But when that spirit is talking to you, it was good that you were able to listen to it instead of ignoring it.
Better yet, it was good that I was even able to hear it.
Yeah.
Because usually the spirit speaks, not even usually, it always is a very still, small voice. It's a whisper.
Yeah. And yours usually come in threes.
Right. Exactly. That's how I can confirm that this is just not me. This is something. This is a spirit.
Right.
But for me, like, being quiet, and you know what? Dang, while I'm saying this, having that prayer closet.
And I was just about to say that. I was like, that was the key to you being able to hear the spirit all the time, because you had that prayer closet.
And it was complete quiet.
Yeah.
Being in that prayer closet as much as I was. And
trust me, you guys, she was
I was in there all the time,
every single day, most of the day. When when I walk in the house, because we were actually in a 2-story house, our kids were out of the house, so you could hear everything was echoing in the house. So when I came home, I'm like, babe, and she quiet, and I knew she was there because the car was there. So I would go upstairs, and I immediately knew where she was in her prayer closet. But that was the key to helping
that
you
really was.
keep your sanity
Yep.
and not go the other route where
Yep.
you felt like, or the devil push you to actually clap back, because that way he wasn't able to bother your spirit.
Not at all.
God had you the whole time.
He had me the whole time.
You know.
And he knew that the more I was in that prayer closet, the more I would be able to have silence.
And I remember seeing, being there, seeing all of that. I remember the times that you were just so agitated.
Oh my gosh.
But there was there was also this calmness to you. Mm-hmm. This very calmness to you, that where nothing fazed you. Not even me in that moment was fazing you. It was fazing you, but you wasn't showing it. And so there's a big difference, because a lot of times we react to our emotions. And
We act off of our emotions.
Yeah.
We allow our emotions to dictate what we do and
Right.
what we say and when we say it. And our emotions can get us in a lot of trouble sometimes. You know
Right.
what I mean? Because we don't think about things. But what I was going to ask you is, seeing me in that space, and because I would tell you every single time I got emails.
Yeah,
I got texts.
You did.
I got phone calls. I got screenshots.
You got somebody knocking at the door.
Knocking at the dabbling freaking door. Like, I would tell you every single time something happened. I remember I would send you screenshots too of like what was put on my social media and whatever. And I literally would just send the screenshot. I wouldn't even say anything to be like, oh my gosh, look at.
Yeah.
I would just send it to
Yeah.
you like, bruh. Really?
And the same time you was doing that, when you would send me stuff or let me know stuff, I was going to them and snapping on them.
But what were you thinking though? Because
I
would think normal folk would expect the woman who's been betrayed to like go off the handle on you. I wasn't really doing that.
No, you wasn't. But in that moment, I was being very protective of you, because what I didn't like was, if you got a problem or issue, that's on me. Don't attack my wife. She didn't do anything. She didn't ask for this. It's not fair for her to be attacked.
Freaking no.
You got a problem, attack me.
Right.
And so that's where a lot of the arguments and the stress came from, because it was building up my anger. It's one thing if I'm hurting you, which I shouldn't have been doing, but to see someone else trying to hurt you and cause you pain, nah, I wasn't cool with that. You ain't gonna attack my wife. You can come bother me because I'm the person that's doing this, but don't come after her.
So when you saw me being quiet though, and not going after going back like toe to toe, tit for tat, what did you think of me and me being able to hone in on like that peace, that quiet, that silence, just keeping my mouth freaking shut? Did you think I was weak?
No. I didn't think you weak. First of all, there was no reason to think you were weak. I knew the type of person you were. It wasn't about you being weakness. It was about you were the type of person that you didn't really deal with drama. You have people out there that deal with drama. You have people that don't deal with drama.
And that thrive off drama.
And thrive off of drama. You were when I met you, you had drama going on, but it wasn't drama that you were a people pleaser. Right. And even in that moment, you wasn't people pleasing, because when we met, I kind of gave you, strength to be a little bit stronger to deal with things and not react to everybody, as well as you gave me specific things to help me. So it just bothered me more than anything, because I didn't like to see you like that. I didn't like seeing you being attacked. So it made it more difficult for me to deal with things. It showed me in that moment how determined people were to break us up, because I think in that moment they truly started realizing he ain't leaving her. You didn't get that memo?
Right.
No, I mean, if that's what I wanted to do, I would have been done that.
Right.
If anything, I was trying to keep the pain and the drama away from you, but I was so caught in the middle of it, trying to fight to get out of it, and come away peaceful without anyone, attacking you or attacking me.
Right.
That was a difficult, situation for me to deal with. So
yeah.
But no, I didn't feel like you were a coward or anything. If anything, I felt like there'll never be another woman that I know that can sit here and take somebody coming at them and be calm and not say anything. Although I will say, you may not have never lashed out on them. There were moments, and yes, we all have those moments. There were moments where there's, and I remember when the person came to the door, you was ready to go attack. And I'm like, babe, no, it ain't even worth it. Let me go out here and handle that situation.
Because you know what it is. You know how when those
house, that's different.
That and that's someone that's been quiet and has not done not a dang thing to you, and then you're gonna keep poking the bear, and then you have nerve to come to my home. That was not no. Yeah,
but I will say I'll never. You're the only woman that I've ever come across to be able to handle that situation, as crazy as it was, the way that you did, in the calmest, most passionate manner that I could think of.
But you know what?
Most people, again, would have reacted.
You're right.
They just would have reacted.
And I remember one time when I was about to react, I got this prompting. The Spirit whispered to me and said, sometimes, and I actually put this in my book. I didn't read it, but it said sometimes the biggest clapback is silence. Yeah. Because somebody cannot fight with themselves. The reason why they're doing this is to get a response.
Yeah, it takes two people to argue.
Exactly. And when you give no response,
they looking like Boo Boo the Fool.
There you go.
They're
looking like Boo Boo the Fool, and they can't get the rile that they wanted to. They can't engage the way they had planned.
It's almost,
so really you're thwarting their whole plan when you just stay silent and don't give them anything to feed off of.
You just have to find the right time to speak, because too, you got to be very careful with that, because some people think, oh, well, you ain't saying nothing, then you're weak and you just scared. No, it don't mean that I'm scared. It just mean in this moment, I ain't trying to get myself caught up in your drama and get in trouble behind this stupidity. I'm gonna make sure that because at the end of the day, all the stuff you continuously do, it's going to come to a halt.
But see, I think where you just said there were moments that I did say what I needed to say in a very intelligent, articulate way. So I think where those moments are kind of like here and there, the silence that was the pretty much the overtone of everything. They knew full well that I wasn't weak.
You had,
based off of the times where I did speak.
And I think that's where the frustration lied with them a lot, because no matter how they try to come at you, the way that you would, and let's say this, you did clap back in your own way, but you did it in a very intelligent way.
Right.
You wasn't using big words. It's just that you know how to talk to people. And for them, they try to use street smarts versus book smarts.
Right.
And that wasn't, you wouldn't win.
It won't jive.
That won't work, because you're not from the street. So that wasn't trying to get all that stuff. You ain't have to deal with that,
Right.
So when they were trying to do that, and then on top of that, they, not to say that they weren't educated, but they wasn't educated in the way that you're educated. So I think that bothered them too.
I totally get that. And I feel like the overall thing for fighting the right way is, especially when you are giving your fight over to God, like for me, that was like the only thing I could do. Yeah. Because I wasn't going to get myself entangled in a whole bunch of back and forth with somebody. I wasn't going to do that. And I wasn't going to get myself into a whole lot of back and forth with you, because you were not in the headspace, and I knew you were not in the headspace by what was being presented to me and your actions and your non-action. And so for me, the biggest thing for me to do to save our marriage at that point and to save me and my sanity was to give it to God. It was more so saving your sanity, because even then it was about our marriage, but it was more about protecting yourself. Yes, it was. And it really was.
That alone, you can't do nothing but have the utmost respect for you and understanding that. It wasn't even about anything else. It was about, maintaining your respect and protecting yourself from all types of things that were going on in that moment. So, I think you did a phenomenal job at that. And again, I'm from the hood. Most of the women I know from the hood, it would have been fights. So people have been pulling out pieces and stuff, trying to or sending other people to come get at them and stuff. You're not from the hood, so that's not how you roll. You just dealt with the whole situation in a very intelligent way. So.
And it was like that whole thing. It worked because, I think like I always say, like in any trial or tribulation or hardship or what have you, there's always something to glean from it. There's always something that you can learn, even if you're not the one that's bringing the drama to the table. And for me, this was your consequence of multiple bad choices that you had made. But for me, it truly was my spiritual journey. It was a deeper spiritual journey for me to have a true personal relationship with my Father in heaven and my Savior Jesus Christ to a whole nother level.
It did. It actually made you become even closer than you've ever been.
Than I've ever been.
Truly, it truly did. And
I mean,
seriously, that alone, you getting closer to God, saved our marriage in a lot of ways people just would never ever think of, because had you not been in tune with your spirit and been praying in your prayer closet and constantly been praying for me, I don't think that I would have started climbing out of that darkness that I was in. You were literally praying for me. It was to the point that if any of y'all don't know, there's a thing, my wife was certified in this thing called Reiki. And it's all about energy. Yeah. And literally what I didn't know was when I would be sleeping, she would be doing the thing over me.
Reiki healing.
The Reiki healing over me.
Yeah.
With the energy and stuff. So
for me, and let me just clarify real quick, because I know there's a lot of opinions, if you will, about Reiki and crystals and all that stuff. And my thought on that is, it's where the foundation you're putting that stuff. So everything that I did, I was saying a prayer. I always connected it to my Heavenly Father. I was not thinking that, this particular Reiki healing is coming from the universe and blah, blah, blah. No, it was like I was saying a prayer over you and just allowing my energy to pass through you or pass in or be traded. I don't know how the best way to say it, but I was allowing my energy to infiltrate your spirit. There you go. And while that was happening, I was praying over you. So I put God in the center of all of that, so I just want to clarify that for people that are like, Reiki, oh my gosh, because it's not, ain't no witchcraft and whatnot happening over here. But that was huge for me because you were so volatile. I was. When you were awake, and you were so it was moody.
I was angry all the time and moody. And mind you, it wasn't because of anything that you did. Oh, I know. It was because of it was because of the stress that I was dealing with. In my infidelity, dealing with more than one female. Right. And just their ways and their attitudes and me not being there while I'm leaving, where I'm going, it was just a whole lot. And then on top of that, dealing with their everyday life and their stress and their problems, situations and toxic, whatever the heck. It was just a lot. And I think too, the anger made me angry because I wanted to be done with it. Again, I would always get mad and be like, I wish they just leave me alone all the time. Remember that? Like, that's all I would ever say. That. I wish they would just leave me alone. But anyway.
So from that, right. That was back in like 2018, 2019, because that's when I started writing my book. But fast forward to 2021, when I actually, we were in a much better place.
We were. But work was still in progress, but things weren't where they needed to be.
Right. We were in a much better place, in that moment, but I had this feeling and had tip-offs by the Spirit that you still were entertaining things with the person, right? Even though we were not even in the same state.
With one of the persons, because I cut.
The other person was cut off, but And so I was talking to my mentor and also the creator of core wound healing, the founder of core wound healing, if you will.
Monica did it. She was the founder of that.
Who in the heck is Monica?
I mean, not Monica, Monique. Monique. Ooh, Lord. Monique. She created that?
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
That
Monique.
That thing is the
Monique,
real deal.
my mentor, our mentor.
Shout out to
our
Monique.
sister. Is the creator and founder of Core Wound Healing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to her about how I still wasn't trusting you. I thought something was going on. Like,
You're right.
I remember saying to her, what in the world does this person have that he cannot cut her off? Like, she
Right.
is so this, that, and the third. Because I ain't gonna get into all that.
They was messed. They was a whole ball of mess.
And she was like, have you healed around her? And I was like, no.
Right. Like, you trying to figure out, like, why I need to heal
Why
around
am I
her?
gonna
Like,
heal
I ain't
around
the
her?
person
Are you
doing
kidding me?
something.
Exactly. That's how my thought process was. And she was like, it's a wound. There's something else there where you don't need to be focused on her. You need to be focused on you and Jevonne.
Right.
And if Jevonne is still doing whatever the heck, then heal around her so that you can really help him to see what's really going on within
Right.
him
Right.
and the connection there so he can move on and he can move forward. And I was like, all right, I'm willing to try any and everything.
Right.
So part of the core wound healing process is there's 6 different steps. And I know we've talked about this before, but one of my favorite steps and or keys, if you will, is key 4, where you break down the lies and the truths. And then key 6 is another one of my favorites because it is where you write forgiveness letters that you don't really send to anyone because forgiveness, again, is about you.
Starts with you.
It starts with you and ends
Yeah.
with you. You don't have to tell the other person that you forgive them. It really is about you.
Now, mind you, these things that we telling you guys about are things we actually use as we mentor other couples.
Correct. And individuals.
And or individuals. So we take them through all of this because it
All
works.
6 keys.
It
Exactly.
truly works.
It truly does. So she told me to heal around it. I was reluctant, but I was like, I'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to read to you guys some of my lies versus the truth. And in this particular key and or step, we ask our clients to take a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle. On one side, write lies. On the other side, write truths. And you basically write down all the lies you tell yourself around that particular wound. This wound that I was healing was the distrust I had.
Right.
For you at the time.
Okay.
And the connection you had with this female and why, like,
Wow,
what the heck?
Go completely.
Right. So I'm going to read you guys, not all of them, but like 3 or 4 of these lies and then the truths. So the first one was, she's better than me in some way. That was the lie. The truth. Not true at all. She is not better than you. We are all God's children. She is broken. Lie. I was doing something wrong in my marriage that he chose to have an affair with her. Truth. You did nothing wrong. Jevonne was also part of a manipulation game that he chose to play around in.
And I was broken too.
You were. Lie. I won't ever truly have Jevonne's heart. Truth. You never lost his heart. He just lost his way and made incredibly stupid choices from a hurt and broken place.
That's factual.
Lie. He loves her more than me. Truth. He never loved her. It was more like lust and someone that needed him.
That's
He
true.
he fell for her brokenness. So those are just a couple.
Go ahead, give me a couple more of them tips.
A couple of more.
Yeah, how many more you got on that?
I got a couple
Go
more.
ahead. Go ahead. Do some more.
So, lie. She will turn others against me with her disrespectful comments. Truth. Be real. No one will listen and believe her. They know who you are.
Yes.
Lie. She will keep me from my purpose. Truth. Nothing can keep you from your purpose. That is given by God.
Ooh.
Lie. She is relevant in my life. Truth. She is irrelevant in your day-to-day life. Lie. She affects me. Truth. She doesn't affect you, and neither do her games and her words. or nor her words. Lie. Her words are true. Truth. Her words about you are not true at all. She knows what kind of person you truly are, and she uses those negative words because she knows that. Again, she is broken. And last lie, she will take my husband and daughter from me. Truth. If you lose your husband, it's because he chose her and God allowed it. That's nowhere in his plans. You will have all the victory.
And that you do. That
we do.
you do. That you do.
So that was key 4. And then now I'm going to go ahead and read the forgiveness letter that I wrote. And again, this was back in 2021.
Now, this forgiveness letter was to her?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure, I let everyone know who.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it says, to the broken girl, I had so much disgust and even hate for you. I honestly didn't want to forgive you or look at your side and where you come from a place of brokenness and hurt. I wanted to continue to blame you for your part of tearing apart my marriage and interrupting all of our plans, all of our plans, all of my plans, as I now have taken on the responsibility of mothering the child you brought into this world with my husband. I wanted to keep seeing you as a homewrecker, and I wanted you to suffer just like, or even more than, I suffered for putting me in that extremely dark place I was in, dealing with betrayal that cut me so deep in so many different ways. However, I see the real deal now. Hurt people, and you are deeply hurt and deeply scarred. I forgive you because you were only acting out of a hurt space. You saw someone that cared and you didn't want to lose that, so instantly, your mind went to what you had been taught to do. You were not capable of abiding by any girl code because all you've seen or ever known is cutthroat tactics and do whatever it takes to get what you want. How could you be loyal when you were never taught what it meant or shown how to be loyal? All this time I have allowed myself to hate you and actually wish bad on you. Allowed you to secretly disrupt my countenance, my energy. Why? You don't know how to be any different than you are. You aren't even on the same mental frequency I am. I forgive you. And I thank you for reminding me who I am, a daughter of God, and who has my back. And he is now giving me all I am asking for, to include restoring my marriage, which you tried so hard to destroy. You have no power over me.
Wow.
So
that's a forgiveness letter. And so how did you feel once you wrote it and you were done with it and reread it over?
Did you say reread? Reread.
I said reread it over.
I felt really good.
Did you feel like there was
I did. I felt like there was a weight lifted off my shoulders.
Okay.
I really did, because at the end of the day, when someone is hurt, when someone is broken, they really are looking to console and relieve themselves. They're selfish. They're not looking at anybody else, really. Like, when you're that hurt and that broken and you want to be seen and heard and have the attention and be loved in a way that you have not been loved before, you are not looking at everybody else's plight and what they need, what they want. You're not even
you
looking
only focus on what you want.
You're only focused on yourself, what you want, what you desire. And you sometimes, even if you do see the other person, you rationalize why what you're doing is okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think writing that and going through that experience that of healing that wound and being able to realize that it has nothing to do with her. You being intertwined in that mess was because of you and what you needed. And her being involved is because of what she needed or thought she needed and wanted. And I had to be able to separate the two. and it had nothing to do with
you.
me,
Right.
at all.
So in other words, what we're saying to a lot of people who, when you're cheated on by your significant other, I would probably say 95% of the time, maybe 90
maybe
to 95,
even more than that. Like we might be being generous.
It could be a little bit more than that. It could be 98% of the time.
Yeah.
But in the end, it truly has nothing to do with you.
Mm-mm.
You are not the problem.
Mm-mm.
There's something within themselves that there's a void, and there's something broken where they need help or they need some type of attention, but only they can explain exactly the why. The why I sought out this person, the why I chose to go do this stupid thing, the why I chose to
be in it for so
long and lie about it, and do all these underhanded things. Only they know that, and they may not know that in the moment,
right?
But that's where, when you start healing, you start understanding, you start really digging and taking those things apart, each thing that you did, and digging through all the nitty gritty details and figuring out what it is that put you in that position that you were in, and how you got in it so deep. And that's exactly what I had to do. I had to break everything down and figure out, where did this all stem from? For me, it was the clinical depression.
The onset of that.
The
that
onset
kind of
of it.
threw you into that.
Threw me into it. And then it was also the fact of how I grew up. For the longest time, I grew up where I felt like I wasn't loved enough by anybody, or wanted, from being out on the streets, eating out of trash cans, being sexually molested by men and women as a kid, being in foster care, moving from one home to the next home. It was just a lot that I had to deal with, living out on the streets. It was a lot. So when you grow up like that, you don't feel that you're good enough. At least I didn't feel like I was good enough for anything or anyone. And even in that moment, I didn't feel like I deserved my wife. I felt like she was just way too good for me to sit here and be. It's almost like a song by Jaheim, where he did with Mary J. Blige, where he was like this crack in the ground and she was like this beautiful rose. That's how it is. You're the beautiful rose and I'm this nasty crack in the ground.
You ain't no nasty.
Well, I'm saying in the moment, that's how I was feeling.
I got you.
I was feeling,
I got you.
And I wasn't worth anything except for the, only thing I was worth was being stepped on. I mean, it wasn't even worth that. So, it took me a long time to realize, through all that I've had to endure in my life, that I am worthy to have happiness. I am worthy to have someone love me and truly be there for me and want the best for me. And my past didn't have to define my present of who I can
facts
and should be in my life right now.
Yeah.
And I did that with healing. First and foremost, putting God in my life, repenting for my sins, and just opening my heart and my mind to, better things, and realizing that I do deserve to have these better. And my past doesn't define who I am in this moment.
Very true.
So I had to get through all that. So,
yeah.
But that's what you got to go through, people. Truly.
And I mean, and some hard conversations.
Yes.
Because I know, like, even in speaking about what you just spoke of, we had some hard conversations. I remember telling you one time when I was going through another wound, because I healed a lot of them, like back to back to back to back. That I think part of your self-sabotage, if you will, was realizing that, I didn't need you. I wanted to be with you.
With me, yeah.
And in a way that kind of scared you, because you felt like I would one day see, oh my gosh, like, why am I with him? Because he's this, that, and the third. So you were like, I just felt like I would just go ahead and get it over with.
Yeah, and I figured
have you leave me and be done with it, because I knew I didn't want you to wake up one day and go, why am I with you?
Right. As well as the fact that the reason also that I was also self-sabotaging, because whenever I did things wrong, people would leave me alone anyway.
Right.
So I had always been used to that.
Right.
That's what I knew.
Right.
So I was just trying to make the situation. And so I developed a habit that, okay, if I did messed up, they're never going to forgive me. So let me go ahead and do more dirt so I can force them out.
Right. Yep.
But you didn't do that.
But I didn't let you pull that.
You did.
Card, if you will, because I always saw you.
The real me.
I saw the real you. I saw deeper than what everybody else saw. I saw the pain that you had. I saw everything that you came from, and I when I started to heal, I started to understand that that's where you were acting out of.
Right.
Was from that pain.
Right.
It wasn't from anything I did or that was wrong with our marriage, because there wasn't anything wrong.
Yeah.
But you were acting out of that pain. And so sometimes, when we say you have to heal in order to really see, which is why, our business is S3Ep3. It's for spiritually elevated everything.
That's right.
When you start to see with spiritual eyes instead of just the temporal eyes, when you start to get the ego, in check, and start to see with more spiritual understanding and unconditional love like our Savior has for us, you're able to pull out those things,
and
the real
forgiveness.
Yes, and forgiveness, and you're able to start pulling out the real things that are happening, not just what you see on the surface. So we hope that all of this has helped you guys and given you a little bit more insight in what we do and how we take couples through the healing process.
Yeah, that's just true. So with that being said, we're going to get ready to get out of here. But before we do, what I want to start doing is kind of leaving you guys with some words of wisdom. A lot of times if I come across a quote or see something that I read that's interesting, but it's positive, to give, to just let you know that, because we all striving for positive words of affirmation to help us. That's what I want to do. I want to put something out there. So I found this on YouTube, and it says, do the new you. The old you isn't you at your best. It was you surviving. It was you reacting. It was you living according to your view of who you were and what you could do. But that view was based on your perspective. There's so much more to you than that. There is a God-empowered way of doing you, and that is you at your best. That's the you He created and the you He sees. So I'm going to leave you with that. Ponder on that. Let it marinate in your spirit and your soul. And just understand that throughout life, you can always be the best version of yourself. There's always another way to elevate the best version of you. And it begins, it starts, and it ends with you.
And your choice to
That's
change
right. That's
and
right.
become better.
That's right.
So, all right, y'all.
Until next time. We'll holler at you. So.
Thanks for listening.
That's
Please
right.
make sure that if this resonated with you, that you leave a comment. Not a comment. Let me start that over. Please, if this resonated with you, make sure that you rate, review, and
That's
please
right.
share with someone that you feel that it might resonate with them as well.
Right.
And until next time, thanks for listening to
To
the
the
Show Up and Show Out podcast. See y'all.
Peace out.